Welcome to another episode of Spindle TV Exclusive. I'm Laney Shaughnessy, your host for the evening, and joining me tonight we have Matt Gifford, a new Spindle TV subscriber. So please welcome him, a new gold member. So everybody give him a good warm welcome. We've got JR just below me and John Thompson. How are you doing? And Charlie's popping in too. Hold on a second. We got old Charlie Hall. Hey, Charlie, how you doing?
I'm good, Lanny.
All right. Well, listen. So I'm going to tell you tonight is going to be kind of we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A, answer some of y'all's questions and things like that. But I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey with me. We're going to kind of go through a design process. Literally, I want to say an hour and a half ago, I found this little guy in a tree, at the base of a tree across the street. Heard him whining and everything, and he was caught in some weeds in the base of a tree. So I brought him in, and tonight I think we're gonna make him a little playground, one of those wall things, to hang so you run around, in a cat bed and all, and we're just going to kind of go through the process. Ronnie is here as well. Thanks for joining me, Ronnie. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
We got some designing and stuff to do. Good. And yeah, so that's, I guess I'm going to keep him. I don't know. Haven't decided yet, but it's all new. So Ronnie, you're just here. So I found a little tree creature, and he was in a knot, or what do you call a rotted out area, or a hole in the base of a tree across the street. He was just crying and a whining, and now he follows me all over the place. Whenever I walk, he's got to go there too. So it's like I rescued him, so he thinks I'm his mama. But I keep saying him like it's not like I know what it is. Could be a he, could be a she. It's too young to tell, I guess. Anyhow, so what I figured I would do is I got to kind of make some accommodations for him, so I make him out for the home. So I'm going to make one of those. Let me pull over. Let me share my screen and kind of show you what I got going on. So let me share my screen. Yeah, we'll get him quieted down in just a minute. We'll take him out to somewhere else. But let me get my head out of the way. Yes, I know you're just all kinds of excited. So I was looking at all types of kind of wall hanging decor or something, some kind of little gateway and everything. And for the cat houses and cat beds and stuff. And I think I'm going to go with, something along that realm with those octagon shapes and all. I've got some silhouettes to cut in and everything. But we're going to I'm going to design something, and I want to take you guys along with the journey. There's going to be a cat bed as well, too. We'll do a nice little, not something, crazy or too crazy, but we'll do something, pretty cool, and see what we can come up with. And I'm just going to decorate one of my walls with it. All right. So the one that really intrigued me was, unfortunately, I probably lost that photo. Let me see if I scroll back up to it. Let me back up one more screen. I've been looking at these for some time now. Let's see here. There was one that really intrigued me, and it was on a French cleat wall. And there it is. I think I'm going to go with this style, French cleat kind of system. So we might even make the wall panel as well too. And everything. But I've got some silhouettes. I thought those were pretty cool. and I'm going to make whatever it is I need to make. But I think on my panel, what I'm going to do is we'll use a dovetail bit, and instead of a French cleat, I'll make some sliding dovetails or something where they can still be adjustable. I don't know. We'll get into it here in just a minute and find out. So let me minimize that, and get back to the Vectric. But that is what we are dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. And I know it was small and you couldn't see because I'm in the corner over here, but we're going to be playing with some. And then, of course, ask questions, write about anything, and I'm happy to answer them. But tonight is going to kind of be, designed by necessity. I've got this little creature to deal with. I didn't want to cancel class, so I thought, well, I'll, do that. But it can't fend for himself right this minute. All right. So with that being said, let me say hi to everybody. And Matt, where are you hailing from? Where's hometown for you?
Little Colorado.
Nice. And I'm so sorry. Say that one more time.
Littleton, Colorado.
Colorado, nice, awesome. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep, perfect. Right. Colorado, that's cool. And
yeah.
JR, you're in
Michigan. Great.
Yeah. Is it still cold up there, guys? Is it still like cool weather? Or are y'all into spring yet?
We're hitting spring. We had 71 yesterday, 61 today. So
hey, can't beat that.
It's Michigan. Wait for a few minutes. It'll change.
Absolutely. Now, Charlie, you're also up north too. You're north of me. I have another Charlie Hall who's not. It's a different Charlie Hall, not you, but he's south of me.
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Nice. Ronnie, where are you at?
I'm in the northwest section of Arkansas, in the Ozarks.
Now listen, these people are telling us where they live. Don't be stalking them or anything like that, Just because they have nice wood shops and everything, you can't go check out their tools and everything.
Good luck finding me.
John, where are you? Where are you hailing from, John?
I'm in South Jersey.
Nice. Well, I'm in Ocala, Florida, and the weather was absolutely stunning today, and I just didn't want to brag about it if y'all were still dealing with cold weather. But it was really nice, and it's been kind of weird. 1 minute it's cold, 1 minute it's hot. It doesn't know what to do. It doesn't make up its mind. So hopefully y'all are okay with tonight's project. It's actually we're gonna be designing a little bit in SketchUp, and then coming over to the VCarve Pro software. So everything we can do tonight, we do tonight's VCarve Desktop Pro or Aspire can do. And Brooks Martin, it's 77 degrees outside where he's from. Awesome. Brooks is in Virginia. I used to live in Maryland, and I lived up there for a year. So we're in April. So yeah, it would be starting to get warm over there. Cool. We got Doug in Missouri, Kurt in Chicago. Yeah, everybody's checking in. That's good. What I want to do is I had, all of my subscribers, all my paid subscribers, my gold members email me. They should be. And Matt, if you haven't yet, I think I sent you your Meet link and everything. But gold members, normally I send a message out welcoming everybody and say, hey, gold members, send me an email with the subject line Meet link so they can schedule their monthly meeting and everything. But there's times where I have project files that I want to put together, and I want to be able to send out to you guys and girls. And I don't have everybody's, contact information. I got Facebook groups, so that's where I've been kind of posting them. But there's some of my members that are not in the Facebook group. So if it's not a mailing list where I would be like spamming you or anything crazy, it's just like if I have files that I want to share with you that you might be interested in from a class or just something I came up with. If you're interested, my email address is on the screen. Write it down or screenshot it or whatever. Take a photo with your phone, whatever you got to do. Shoot me an email and just for the subject line, just put contact, right? And that way I can have, because I have a spreadsheet with all of your guys and girls' names on it, because it helps me keep up with that little banner that I put up at the end, which I got everybody's name on there, including JR's this time. But it helps me keep up with that stuff. And I was like, man, I wish I had a way to send them things, because every once in a while I might want to send out party favors, like a book when I release it, or, apparel. Like, I might email you and say, what's your shirt size one day, and send you a shirt or something. I got some pretty cool designs in the works for CNC shirts and everything. But so we're gonna, if you don't like cats, I apologize, but we're gonna make some furniture in a jungle gym for a kitten tonight. That's what we're doing. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get to it. I'm gonna say not goodbye to you guys, but I'm gonna go big and sit you guys in the background for just a moment, and I'm gonna get my big old head out of the way. And I want to fix one thing with my background to get rid of that shadow. I need to go back in and remember to set my settings to fix that. There we go. All right, I can set those settings to be permanent, so I don't have to do that every single time. So NVCard Pro, that's where we're going to be tonight. But I want to also go into SketchUp. Now, I honestly like SketchUp for designing three-dimensional designs when I'm trying to visualize a concept or for a piece of furniture or an item or something. SketchUp, when I first started with SketchUp, I knew absolutely nothing about this program. And I'm going to give the biggest shout out I could possibly give to Jay's Custom Creations, Jay Bates. Jay, longtime friend. He has a website, Jay's, Jays, customcreations.com. And in the SketchUp section of his website, he has a link to the version 8 of SketchUp that I'm working in here. And let me turn off the view axes, turn those off. He's got the version 8, which is a free version before they kind of went, paid and everything. And his tutorials, not just his tutorials on his website. I like going to his YouTube channel and his playlist. There's like 55 videos in his SketchUp playlist. And I literally downloaded the song. I saw one of his videos and I was like, oh man, I want to learn that program. Knew nothing about it. This is when I was just getting started before CNC, right? Before I got familiar with like even designing in Vectric. I downloaded the SketchUp. I literally watched every single one of his videos back to back in a row. I spent that time. They're short and to the point, mostly and everything, but watched every single one of his videos. By the end of that marathon, I was absolutely proficient in the software. I could design furniture. I made a chest of drawers and everything on my own, and just it's been all uphill from there. Every once in a while, if I forget how to do something, like the one I always forget on is the Follow Me tool, being able to make trim and molding and stuff with the Follow Me tool. I always forget how to use that tool, so I always go back to Jay's video and watch his video and reference. I can't say enough about his playlist. I hope one day he sees how much I brag about him, but if you ever want to play with SketchUp or learn SketchUp, jayscustomcreations.com, download the free version, watch his tutorials, jump into it, because all of those files that you make in SketchUp, you can import into Vectric and it'll lay out your parts and everything, right? It won't lay them out like perfectly. You got to move them around and all that stuff, but I mean, it'll get them in there and it's just phenomenal. So that's what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to jump back and forth and everything within the software and all. For the most part, I've decided I'm going to go with solid wood panels on this this jungle gym. I was kind of thinking in my head when I was looking at things and all. And those little octagon kind of like cubicles, if you will, that they can either lay in or jump and run down to. I like that, but I also like the square ones, like I said on I want to call it a slat wall, but we'll call it like a French cleat wall or something. I like that aspect as well too. So for the panels, if I was doing the octagon one, I'm thinking about 18 to 20 inches from long point to long point. He's a small guy, so it doesn't need to be real big. If he was, it might grow with him or something. If he's stick around, no, I'm just kidding. I can't say that to him. He's sleeping. But the 18 to 20 inches. So I'm just going to go with 20. I'm going to glue up 24 by 24 inch panels. I have 2 CNCs now. So before I had to kind of stick with my 2440. It was 24 by 36 was my maximum capacity. I do have a 4x4 now. I can go bigger, but I'm just going to stick with 24 inch by 24 inch panels. Now, with that being said, they're going to be 3/4 inch thick material. Once I get everything, all the panels glued up, sanded and all that stuff, I'll go back if I sand things out or running through my drum sander and I'm gonna, of course, be shaving off just a little bit of material. So I'll go back and accurately put my measurement in, what my thickness is and stuff, because I'm going to be cutting through. And when I cut through, I reference off the wasteboard. And I'm a big advocate about not spoiling the spoil board. So a spoil board, a wasteboard, a sacrificial surface protects your tabletop. It is meant to protect your table. It's meant to be kind of like, something to cut into. But my wasteboard is also a jig. It's got T-slots milled into it. It's got grid lines, for layout and everything on it. It's got like fence holes so I can position fences and things. And I don't want to have to be resurfacing that thing over and over and over again. So I'm a big advocate of completely cutting all the way through the material, but not cutting into the wasteboard. And it's doable. Some people might leave a little skin, to their wood. I don't. I'll cut all the way through. I just won't cut into my wasteboard. Now I'll get a tool mark. I'll get that tip of that bit just kind of rubbing on there. I can see the tool mark, but there's no grooves and gouges and stuff. And I'm okay with that. I can't, I'm okay. I'm good, but I'm not that good, where it's got to be like pristine and everything. So machine bed is where I touch off, and I'm going to start in the bottom left corner. We're going to click OK. Now, I have an image, I told you I want to do some of the silhouettes and everything. So I have an image that, that I'm going to, utilize. So that one and that one. And let's get up close and personal. And I'm going to trace these silhouettes. These silhouettes are going to get cut out of the front of that and all. So trace bitmap tool. Turn the fading off.
Hello?
So let me see here. Let me mute
All right.
guys in the background. Sorry about that. I hear it in my earpiece, but I didn't realize they were still on. Okay, sorry about that. So trace bitmap tool. I'm going to turn my, I like going to the top of my threshold peak, which is for me 75 on any of the images. 50 to 75 is kind of my working range. Oh, wait, hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Very important. I got to start my Speedify or I'm going to get buffering tonight. Bear with me just a moment. Forgot to do that. Okay. Perfect. All right. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this to 75. I'm doing a black and white trace, default corner fit. This is a pretty decent image, but I'll still turn the noise filter up to 4, and I'm going to hit preview. Now, I'm going to reduce that down to 2 and hit preview again. All right, so it's not going to change in there very much. That's okay. Apply to lock that in and close to close the tool. And then I'm just going to hit delete to delete the image. And so that will be one of the silhouettes that we'll end up using. And let's kind of pull that over to the side for right now. Now, on the other image, zoom selected, have some other silhouettes that I want to use, some paw prints and things like that. So I'm just going to do a full trace on all of them, and then I'll be able to pull whatever one I want. So trace bitmap, turn the fading off down at the bottom, fading to none. I'm going to slide the slide bar up to 75. I just stick to that. I don't go past it. Noise filter default. I'm going to go 3 on this one. Preview, apply, and close. And then I'm going to delete the image. So again, these are going to be silhouettes, and I will probably end up fixing the paw prints. But they're going to be silhouettes that I'll pick and choose from. I'll ungroup them so that I can grab size and do whatever I want with them in just a minute. So those are going to be some of the things that I'll be working with. Now, because I'm terrible at shapes and everything, the cat bed the cat beds that are octagon shape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are 6-sided, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a 6-sided octagon here. And I believe that my angle here, and somebody can help me out with this one, I think it's 30 degrees, right? 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 180, I think. Let me see here. So let me know if it's 60. Is it 60 or 30 degrees? And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to measure that. So we have a tool for that, the angle tool. And I'm going to measure from this corner. I'm going to measure out here and then over to here. And that's 120 degree outside corner. And a 240 degree. So let's see here. That's 6. That didn't help me at all, ladies and gentlemen.
Your angle.
What is it, John?
60 degrees, Lanny.
It will be? Okay. It will be 60. Thank you so much.
The way you can figure that out is if you take the number of sides, which is 6,
right,
divide it into 360 degrees, which is what's in a circle.
Right, a full circle.
And that gives you 60 degrees.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I swear, I'm an intelligent young man, but I have the hardest time with shapes. Like when I'm cutting my angles and everything like that, it's like, oh man, what's that angle? And everything. So 60 degrees. That's
going for a hex or an octagon, Laney?
Hexagon, 6 sides.
Yes.
Octagon would be 8 sides, right?
That's
so.
Wait a minute.
I said octagon, didn't I? So hexagon. Thank you very much. And that would be 60 degrees. And an octagon would be 360 divided by 8, right? That would be the math on that?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That'll be 45.
45. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now, see, that's why I got you guys around, to help me out with those things. And the reason why I do that is in SketchUp here, when I'm, drawing this part out, when I end up drawing this part out, I want to be able to, create my mitered angles or, my angle cuts and everything in the parts. Now, for the part, what I want to do is I'm going to take this here, and in the size tool, like I said, from long point to long point, I'd like to be around 18 to 20 inches. And let's just keep it simple. We'll go 20 on everything. That's going to be the height and all, and or the width. So long point to long point here, I'd like to stay at 20 inches, and that's going to give me about 17 inches tall, and that's going to be plenty for this little guy to be able to, he's going to have about 5 or 6 of these things, and so there's going to be a 3/4 inch board here, right from and all, and these miters right here. So bear with me just a second. So point to point. Point to point. Missed that one completely. Let's try that again. So basically, long point to long point, that's going to be my measurement, and then I'm going to be in 60 degrees, thanks to Charlie giving me that information, and everything. They're going to be, they're going to be 3/4 inch boards. So, and again, I want my outside dimensions to be 20 on the length, right? So if I offset this inward 3/4 of an inch, just kind of a mock-up, right? 0.75, sharp corners and everything. We have my long point to long point measurement, short point to short point, right? And so and they're all going to be all even. So I just need the measurements of one board and I'll be fine. But I should, with that, I should have from long point to long point, 10 inches, right? And just for kicks and giggles, short point to short point, 9 and just over 1/8 of an inch. And that's fine. I don't care about that. That measurement will come when I do the 60-degree angle. So 10 inches. And I believe, guys, if I look stupid on this one, it's just will be length. If I measure from here to here, I'm hoping it's also 10 inches. It is. It's even all the way around. Okay. See, I'm terrible with shapes, man. I'm great at building. I can build just cheat out of nothing, out of everything, right? But I'm, man, on angles and stuff, which is terrible because we deal with angles all the time, But anything outside of a miter, I get stumped on just a little bit every once in a while. All right, let's get over to SketchUp here and let's clear this off. I'm going to create a rectangle. And this rectangle is going to be one of my boards. And I actually want it, I'm going to use a 1x8 board, 7 1/4 inches wide. I'd like to have a little bit of room inside there and everything. And I think 7 1/4, it's not going to be too much. So I'm going to go 10, 7.25, zoom into that. I'm going to hit the P key on the keyboard for push pull, and I'm going to pull that up to 0.75. Okay. So the on here with the tape measure tool, we have the 10 inches. So from here to here, 10 inches, and then from here to here are 7 1/4. Now, on here, I'm going to go into the camera view and I want a front view. So we're kind of looking at it from the side here. And this is my 10-inch side. And just to verify that again, this is my 10-inch side here. So now I'm going to go into the protractor tool and I'm going to click on this corner. And then I'm going to come over here. I'll click up here first and it's going to give me a line, and then I'm going to come over and I'm going to type in 60. Okay. Now that would be 30 degrees on the cut. 230 degrees create a 60-degree angle. It wouldn't be a 60-degree angle. So let me redo that 30. I do know that much. So the angle is 60, but the half of it, that one board would be a 30-degree cut. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And that's going to also be 30. Now, I can bring my line from here to here, from there to there. And then I can take my P tool, push-pull tool, and I can push that angle off there. And I can push that angle off there. So there's one of my pieces, right? So now that I have, I can get rid of the guidelines. Now that I have the part made, I can come in and triple click on this. That'll select all the connecting faces. And then G for group to make a component. And I'll hit create. And now I have a component. So again, let's go to the standard view of the front here. And I'm going to hit the letter M for move. And I'm going to grab this corner and I'm going to hold down the control key because I'm going to move a copy, the control key, just like in Vectric. When you're moving in Vectric, the control key moves a copy. So I'm going to snap a copy to there. Okay. And then the QT, which I don't know where Q gets on rotate, but the QT is the rotate tool, not the protractor. It's the rotate tool. And what I want to do with this is I want to click on this corner and then I want to kind of click right up this leg here. And I want to pull that up and snap it in place, right? So there's the two sides, right? Now I'm going to take these two objects, hit the M for move, but let's get back into a standard front view. Hit the M tool for move, hold down the control key. Now I'm moving both of these and I'm going to snap right to that corner. Q for rotate, rinse and repeat. I'm going to click here, click there, and pull that around. And this is 4 sides. I really only need 2 more. So I'm just going to select those 2 that are there. I'm just going to hit M for move. Let's grab this one here and control key. Now this one's going to be upside down, but that's okay. I'm going to snap right there. Q for rotate, click here, and then spin that around. And if I did my job right, I should end up with one of those parts. All right? Simple enough. I love SketchUp. I really do. Now, the cool part about this is I can come in here with my line tool and I can click here to here, to here, to there, to there, to there, and back to there to create that face. P for push pull and pull the 3/4 out, 0.75, enter. And that is one of my faces there. Triple click, G for group, click create. And now I can hit the M for move, hold down that control key and drag a copy of it to the backside, right? And I really don't necessarily need a backside. So let me get you square there. When this hangs on the wall, I really technically only need, something to hang the French cleat on, right? I don't need a full back panel, but I just wanted to kind of illustrate that. So now I have all the parts for one of those octagons. Cool beans. All right, so let's go File, Save As.
Laney,
Yes.
why not insert that back panel as it insert it in, make it, of course, it'd be 3/4 inch small all the way around, and then insert it in 3/4 of an inch. So then you wouldn't have an edge showing.
Right.
You wouldn't have
So
any end green showing.
gotcha. That is a good point. Hold that thought. That is a good point. Let me see something here.
Plus,
Okay.
it doesn't need to be 3/4 inch thick.
It doesn't need to be 3/4. It only needs to be like 1/2 inch, plywood and all of that, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I'd make it out of
On the So let me just pull this back on the screen again. So I was kind of looking at, kind of favoring this one because I really like this too. I want to make this also, this part, kind of like the little bed that hangs on the wall. And I'm also going to make the Jacob's, the ladder too. But anyway, this one, they're using just plywood, right? You know, stained plywood. And they're screwing it together, which is fine. But the plywood is overhanging. There's like a little lip, right? You know, and this has a little plexiglass panel on it. Thank you, Etsy, for that. This has a little plexiglass panel on it, and everything, and all. And so I was kind of emulating that, but I'm not really, right? You know, I don't want plywood. I already decided I'm going to make it out of hardwood, which I could make it out of plywood, right? It would probably be one sheet. I could knock it out, you know, very quickly. I don't have to do a lot of glue ups and everything.
You can cabinet plywood.
Yeah, right, exactly. But in setting it, and see, they didn't even miter, you know, they just, you know, screwed everything to this front panel here with the gaps and everything. They didn't care about their cat, you know, that's what it was, you know. So, all right, so let's go back over here. So yes, now if I select this part here and I hit S on the, let me escape out of this. Here we go. If I hit S here, I can grab this corner, and I believe it's the shift will keep the axis. Bear with me a second. Function, Alt, trying to see, Control, is it Shift Alt? Trying to see if there was one particular keyboard shortcut that would keep it centered, you know, but not really. Okay, no problem. So what I'm going to do is I do like the idea of insetting it.
Well, what if you turned it face flat toward the screen and then tried shrinking it? See, that way you could see if it was shrinking in center. You know what I mean? And keeping it centered in your box.
Right. So if you're talking about if I go front view here,
right, and then that way you see it shrinking equally all the way around.
If I hit Shift, that's just one side. Control keeps me centered.
That makes it equally all the way around that way.
Now, yeah, so Control keeps me centered. And let me see, bear with me a second. I want to see if it's the corner one here. Yeah, and I should be able to offset inward 0.75. No, that might have been a little bit too much. What would that be? 3/8, right? It would be 3/8 on each side, kind of deal.
Yeah, because that would take 7 3/4 off all around.
Yeah. 0.375. What is that doing? Oh, all right. I see what it's doing. 0.37. It's bringing it down to that size. Is that what it's doing? I haven't done the scale in a long time. Bear with me. Scale is 1%, 89, 87. 80, oh, it's doing it by percentage points. Ooh. So,
so what if you
I don't even want to spend time thinking that one up. So here's what I'm going to do. I love just quick and easy. I'm going to hit delete. I'm going to take my line tool and I'm going to just draw a line on the inside. It's a little bit faster for me than trying to figure out that tool. And then P for push pull. And again, it doesn't need to be 3/4. but I'll just 0.75 just for right now. Triple click G for group, and then I will just move that in there. Oops, escape. So yeah, that looks tight. That looks good. So 7 1/4. He's a little guy. 7 1/4 minus, if I go 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, that's 1 inch. 6 1/4. If I go 1x10, that's a 9 1/2 inch board. 1 inch, 8 1/2. All right, I might do a 1x10. So if I'm going to do a 1x10, I'm going to, when I do to 1, since these are copies, it will do to them all. So this is already 7 1/4. I just need to move another 2 3/4 inches out. So 7 1/4 and 9 1/2 is another 1 3/4. 7, 8, 9,
1 3/4.
3/4. Yep. So if I pull this out, it's going to do them all because they're copies of each other. So 1.75, just pull it a little bit in the direction you want to go, and that'll pull that out. So I can deal with that. All right. And then I'm going to make the front panel, because there's going to be silhouettes and it's going to be open. There'll be openings and all that stuff, but I'm going to make the front panel inset also, because I like the idea of no grain showing, no in grain showing this way. I'm okay with the edge grain here. So select this move tool, grab that bad boy, holding the control key down, let go of the control key, and then just snap that right there. So there's my front and back. Okay, so that's one part down. So that's going to be my octagon. And I'll be able to do like offset cutouts if I want to make a window there, if I want to do the silhouette of one of the cats and all that stuff. We'll do all that in Vectric. Right now, I just want my raw parts. So that's one part. So let's go ahead and move that to the side. Now, my next part, I want one of the square boxes and everything. So one of the square boxes, we're going to, for the square box, might as well stick with, if I'm going to buy, I'll just buy 1x10s for it all. So I'm going to I'll miter these. It'll be miter, so it's again so nice and clean. And again, I want to stick to 20 inches, and this is 17. So I'll keep my 20, but I'll have different sizes on the height. So let's come over here. Let's go 20. That'll be one end, comma 9.5. P for push pull, 0.75, enter. And then let's get into the camera, standard view front, tool, protractor. The protractor tool is the only tool that doesn't have a keyboard shortcut. It's stupid. Anyway, here to here, and I'm going to go 45 because this is going to be a mitered box. From here to here, 45. So you just turn it in the direction you want it to go and then type in the number and hit enter. Take our line tool, go from here to here, from here to there. P tool, push pull. And of course, the tools are up here as well. You can come and click them. I'm a big advocate of keyboard shortcuts in SketchUp. Okay. So that will be my top and bottom of my box. Okay. Let's select that. G for group. And then might as well hit the move tool and control key to pull that up. And I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. And this is the thing. When I pull it up, I can actually give it a distance, a measurement. So I'm going to go up 11 inches. Okay. Now, need to flip this one around. So if I right click on it, I can flip it. I can flip it along my red axis, my green axis, or my blue, X, Y, or Z. When I flip it along the red axis, that just swings it around this way. It doesn't do anything. It goes length to length. When I flip it around flip it along the green axis, that also doesn't make any change. And when I make sure I'm the only thing that's selected there. Yep. Whoa. When I flip it along the blue axis, that's the flip this way, right? So that's going to get my two miters facing each other. Now, the cool thing about this is I believe I went straight up, with this, and I didn't vary left or right or anything. So I can simply take my rectangle tool, and let me escape out of this and click off of it. And let me see if I can zoom into this closer so everybody can see it clearly. I can just take my rectangle tool and click down here, come all the way up to this corner, and then over to that corner to create that piece. And then I can use the push-pull tool, and I can either pull this way or I can pull this way, right? Whichever way I want to go. I'm going to go ahead and pull this way and just pull it to there. And these are grouped. This is separate. This is still individual faces and everything. So when I come in here with my line tool, when I draw a line here, I'm drawing it on those open faces. And when I use the push-pull tool, I'm pulling that face, and it's, even though it's inside here and hidden, and I can hide this so you can see what I just did, hide, all I did was take that off. And the software is so intuitive and so smart. It knows that I'm working with these components. I can't work with them unless I'm inside of them. I got to double click. So they're just there. It's like a grouped item in Vectric, right? And so I can draw that line. I can use the push-pull tool, get rid of the, push that angle off of there. And it's working with that open object versus just because there's a component right there in the way, it's kind of ignoring the component because I'm not inside of it. And I mean, that is so intuitive and handy that it's just, it's great. So push, pull, and then, I can pull over. And you see how it says offset limit 9.5. It's saying, hey, you can only go 9.5 inches, and that's what I want. And I'll just type in 9.5 and hit enter, just so it knows that's what I'm trying to get to and everything. So once again, if I take this bottom piece and hide it, you can see I've got that, mitered board there. And so now group that one together, undo the hides, unhide all. Right? And now I can just move, hold the control key down and drag this down and snap. I grabbed it on that back corner. I can snap it right to there, even though it's backwards, but that's okay. I can flip it, right click. And this time I am flipping along the red axis, okay, to flip it this way. And I just need to pull that over and snap it in place. It's so fast. Hit your escape key. Hit your escape key or your space bar to get out of that tool when you're done doing what you want to do, or it keeps kind of moving parts around. But SketchUp, if you can just get familiar with it, just the basics, drawing your shapes and extruding them and, pushing them off. And then once they're shapes, group them together and stuff. Man, it's so great to be able to do that. And now in here, this is just a simple rectangle tool. So I'm going to take my rectangle and draw a rectangle on the inside there. And then right over here, I can just come in here and just pull that inside like a drawer, right? But I just want to pull it 3/4, 0.75. And triple click, because these are grouped, right? So it ignores the group. So triple click, and it's only going to select all the faces of that open object. And then G for group. And if I go move, I can move that out, and you can see now it just grouped that area right there, right? So, and then move, control key, drag a copy over here, spin that bad boy around. I'm going to grab it right on the back corner so I can just snap it, and it snaps, right in place. So this is technically, I mean, that's one of my boxes, right? Now, I would do this for all the different size boxes that I want. Now, if I said, okay, I'm just going to keep my box height the same so I can have a little entry door, and I could draw all those vectors and stuff in here, and I can make all the little doors, openings and everything and all that stuff for the silhouettes and all. But if it was just like a round opening or a square, I could do all that right here. And when I import it into Vectric, it'll have all those vectors there, or I can just draw them in Vectric, right? Figure out what I want to do. But just for preview purposes, I'll do this one. I'll leave it alone and intact, but I'm going to hold down the control M for move and hold down the control key and grab a copy of this. And I'm going to make this one same height, shorter. So we'll come in here and triple click to get in there, or a double click. We'll get in there. Let me hide this face first so we can see what we're doing. Hide. This one, I'm going to scale it down. So this box right now is overall 20 inches in length. I'm just going to, bring it down. Really doesn't matter what size. I just want to bring it smaller. So I'm going to pull this in, and I'm just going to pull in until I think I'm happy. Now, I don't want this to change, and you see what happened because it's a copy. So I need to select this, right click, and make it unique. Okay. So, and if you're make it unique means it's not the same as the other copy. So when I change something, it doesn't change my original, right? Because it'll change whenever you make a copy of it. So I'm going to pull this in to here. Good with that. And then here, these guys right here, I can't push and pull an angle. That's the one thing that I can't do. So when I'm in this part and everything, if I try to push pull, it doesn't, it only wants to kind of go this way, right? And that would be kind of a cool looking box too. But it doesn't let me kind of push and shorten up and all that stuff. And that's okay. I'm just going to make a 45-degree right here and, cut these off and everything because I can do that. So if I come in with my tape measure, right? And with my tape measure tool, I can, kind of create like guidelines, if you will. I can create a guideline right here so I know where that edge ends. And the protractor tool, no keyboard shortcut for that. I keep wanting to hit P for protractor, but that's not the case. And I need to not protract at the bottom. I need to protract at the top. So hit escape, click here and down to there. And this is a 45. Now all I have to do is just draw the line. Well, click into this part first, then draw the line. P for push pull, and now I can just push that whole thing away, right? And because these are copies of each other, not of this, but they're copies of each other, it does them both at the same time. Love this program. All right, so edit, unhide all to, we'll get out of that, unhide all, and then just move this face and snap it into place, right? So let's grab that, hit delete. So now I got a small cube. I'm going to stick with that because I can make multiple copies of that, different copies of that, right? That'll be just the 3 shapes that I need. The last thing I'll do here is on this side here, I will go ahead and put the doorway in. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm just going to come up 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. So it just kind of gives me a guideline of where, you know, my miter is and everything. And I'm going to, let's go another tape measure tool. Go another, yes, lay down and go back to sleep. He didn't like me slamming the thing. So let's go another 1/2 inch, 0.5. Now there, I'm just going to pick a spot here. All right. Shh. Or you're going to go outside. Not outside, but out in the living room. All right. So here's this. Now, once again, here's what I did wrong. I drew this component, or I drew this shape on a closed component, not on the inside. So I can't push that hole out or anything. I need to make sure that when I'm drawing, you know, shapes and everything, if I'm planning on pushing and pulling apart or something, then this part has to be clicked into. We got to be inside of it. We've got to be inside of it. And so now I'm inside of it. And what I'm going to do while I'm inside here is I'm going to take my tape measure tool, and I'll kind of be consistent here. So let's go in. 1 1/4, 1.25, N 1.25. All right, that gives me my little window. It doesn't really need to be that big, does it? Let me do that again. So let's go in another inch, 1 inch. 1 inch. That's good. Take that rectangle, and I'm going to use my guidelines and just come in here. We'll click there. And then I want to draw an arc. I'm going to go from here to here, kind of pull that up a little bit. Now, once I do that, this is what I love about this program. Once I do that, once I connected that arc to here, this line, I can just select it and hit delete, and it automatically joins those two together. You know, it's like almost like taking the scissors in Vectric. It's almost like taking the scissors in Vectric and trimming them together and then joining them and everything. Now, I don't need the guidelines at this point. I'll get rid of that one and that one. That and that. And I'm going to do a push-pull here. P. Push-pull and then 0.75. Now you can just push pull and then let go when it gets to, it'll tell you where you're at, or it'll say this is your limit, and then you can let go and it'll just get rid of it. Or you can type in a hard number. I like to type in a hard number so it knows how far I'm pushing to. So now that part has those two openings there and everything. All right. Now these arcs are segmented. I don't know if you can see those straight lines. They're segmented in SketchUp. When we import these vectors in this file into SketchUp, there's going to be an option to take and change arc segments to, you know, to arcs and all that stuff. And I'll show you that when we import it in. So that's going to be my little opening. We'll put a little silhouette on the front of these, and then I'll make the other opening in Vectric. So let's save the file and let's take it over to Vectric. So let's let me drag this one. I don't have to, but let me just kind of put these in proximity of one another. Don't have to explode them. Don't have to do any of that stuff. I just need to go File, Save As, and in the downloads, SketchUp's taking me all over the place. Kitten here will go wall boxes. Now, the cat bed that I said that I liked on the wall and everything, I'm going to draw that in Vectric. Don't need to draw it in SketchUp. I'm going to draw it in Vectric and everything because I want to show you that you can do that as well too. All right, so wall boxes. Now I can come out of here and in Vectric, I don't need this anymore. That was kind of my layout, right? I like if I can cheat anywhere I can, to get the information I need, I'm going to do it. All right, so let's go to import a vector, wall boxes. And right here, I want an exploded flat view. So bring in the parts. I don't need a 3-sided view where it shows the top, front, and sides of a part. The only time I would want to do that is if there's some kind of ornate edge that I need to maintain, OG edge or box over that I've drawn in SketchUp that I want to maintain to maybe do a 3D cut or something like that. Then I would import, kind of a 3-sided view, right? But in this case, it's just going to be a flat view. Now, I don't necessarily need to auto or, orientate it by a particular face. But if I did, I could have painted with my paintbrush in SketchUp. I could have come over here and let's say that I explode this piece right here. I could paint this outside face. Oops, hold on. I had everything selected. I could paint this outside face a color. And that color is A06, right? And when I save the file, that color will be in my dropdown in Vectric. In here, I could say orientate this, and I could come in and I could find that because it'll know the color in the files. I could select A06 and it would bring all those faces up, right? If there was a bunch of joinery and things. But I don't need to do that. I just want it to bring them in. So auto orientate. I'm going to be moving the parts around myself. So a 1-inch gap is fine. Now create circles for polygons. So those angles and everything, I want it to create arcs and circles. So that's what we're doing. Refit arcs to boundaries, redraw arcs to boundaries. I want to keep my groups as groups and everything, keep the components, kind of together. And then there's 20 parts that are coming in. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to lay out all of my parts here. Now I've got my front and back. Okay. And this is where sheets are going to come in, right? I could create all my sheets and put all these parts on a sheet. Or if this was one big sheet and it was plywood and I was cutting all the parts out of that sheet, could do that too. That kind of thing. Now I'm going to cut the angle cuts in here. I could just as easy take them over to the miter saw or the table saw, right? Tilt the blade, cut and everything. But I want to show you guys and girls how to use your chamfer tool and or just a router bit, right? So I could lay everything out on one sheet if it was one big sheet and nest it to, get the best parts to fit, right? Get it to nest and fit. But since I'm going to be gluing up kind of individual panels for this and everything, I'm going to create individual sheets. So some sheets are going to be long where I can cut all my sides for my little boxes out of, right? That don't need to be, just a 24 by 24 inch. They could be, just a 1 by 10, by whatever. And then some are going to be the square panels. So let's start with the square panels. So sheet 1 and sheet 2, I'll rename them. That's going to be my hexagon front and hexagon. Is it A-N or O-N? I think it's O-N, right? Rename. Back. Okay, so that's going to be those two parts. And I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to just move it to that sheet. Okay. And then let's make that sheet active for a minute. And let's get that centered on the sheet. Now, I don't have any small parts in here that I could kind of like, in here that I could kind of, fit. So I'm just going to go ahead and center this one on the material. And that's going to be my 2 sheets. Now I'm actually going to I'm going to be making one tool path, multiple cutouts on the front, one tool path, because I'm going to make 3 of these boxes, these hexagon boxes, but I'm only going to design 1. There's only going to be a tool path of the silhouette that gets cut out of them. I'm going to have, a couple different silhouettes. And so I'll put them on their own layer and I'll create my tool path, to cut one with this cat, one with that cat, one with this paw, whatever, right? So that kind of thing. The side of my boxes, the inside of my boxes, they're going to have a silhouette on them too, on the front and everything. One of them might have a plain plexiglass window. I kind of like that concept too. But so that's going to, kind of be that deal. So my next sheets for this, let's get up close and personal with these things. My next sheet, add new. This one is going to be my small box. My small box, I could probably get 1, 2, 3. I could probably get my box sides out of 1 by 10. Let me take a measurement real quick. Just a rough measurement. So out of a 36-inch board, I could get 3 pieces. All right, so we're going to go on the sheets. This one is going to be my box sides. Rename box sides A. I'll just do A because they're going to probably be more than one board. And edit that one. And I want it to be 36 inches long. I'm going to go 35. 35 inches long. I'm going to go 9.5 or 1 by 10, 9.5, 3/4 inches thick. Click OK. And I need 2 of those. So let's do another one. Box size B. And because I had this selected when I hit edit new, it kept the same measurement. So if you have a board selected when you add a new one, it'll add a new one with those dimensions. Okay. So I don't need to go in and edit that one. So that's that. Now for right now, that's good enough for the moment. Let's go ahead and get back into our main sheet where everything is. And let's select this, and this, and move it to box side A. This, and this. Move that to box side B. Okay. Close. Now, these vectors, everybody, these vectors are grouped together, right? So that's a group, and that's a group. Okay. So I should be able to draw a rectangle around the perimeter of my board here. And of course, I missed it by a long shot. Let me redo that. Now I should, if I'm a smart boy, I should be able to select these 3 items first, this rectangle last, align them to the center of that last rectangle and stack them on top of each other here, and then space them inside that last vector horizontally, and it should lay them out and space them for me. Equal distance. So the distance from here to there, to there, to there, they're all equal. So I can do the same thing here. Select, so hold the shift key down, select that rectangle, align to the center to stack, space, equal distance. All right. Now these are, you have to understand that this is a mitered side, right? And it was imported in as a flat vector. So there are vectors on top of vectors here. There's the vectors for the inside face. Let me ungroup one of these so you can understand what's going on here. Ungroup. So we have a vector for the inside face, which is right here. So if I were to grab that and kind of move it for a minute, that's that inside face. Now that inside face, there's also a vector here, which is the outside, right? Those two vectors, the little boxes here, create kind of the offset distance of that angle, right? That 60-degree angle. So this line right there is that inside top of the angle, and this line here is the outside bottom, right? That long edge to long point to short point. That distance, that's what that is. So when we're creating the tool pass, we don't need this line. This is a rectangle right now. We don't need this span or this span. We only need this line and this line to cut the miters, right? We might need to add a couple of lines, but that's the lines we're going to be using. And then the outside perimeter is the profile cutout, right? Now, of course, you could say to me, Laney, hey, wouldn't it just be much easier to, take your 1x10, go over to the table saw, cut your 3 pieces, put your box together and all that? Yes, 100%. I'm just showing those individuals and all of you, but those that might not have a table saw or a chop saw or this or that, but they only have the CNC that they purchased, how they can create the tool pass to make these cuts, right? But I'm strongly going to advocate that if you have a tool, use that tool for its best purpose. This tool is better designed for cutting out those silhouettes and those, shapes and things like that. It's not, it's easier for you to take a board over to your table saw on your miter sled, cut it down, tilt the blade, 60 degrees and make your cut 30 degrees, not 60. Make your cuts, on your miters and all that stuff and be done with it. If you have a compound miter saw that has a good throat reach on it, you could do it with that as well too. If you have a radial arm saw and it works for you too, whatever tools you have in your shop, use them, right? I'm just illustrating if we were in just a CNC scenario. Okay. All right. Now let's bring the boys up because I got everybody's attention. They look like they were about to doze off because my voice is boring as all be it. Let's get everybody up close. Wake up. All right. There y'all are. All right. So sorry, guys. I just want to make sure I'm keeping y'all engaged. How's things going? Am I boring you to death or are you getting it? Is it pretty too rudimentary right now? Elementary?
Good.
We're doing good.
I was just curious, in SketchUp, would after you brought all the parts in SketchUp, could you have labeled those parts so you kind of knew what they belong to?
Sure. Like if I could, you're talking about if there was some way to kind of mark like, part A, part B, part C, part D.
Yeah, top, bottom A, bottom, top A, bottom B.
Right. In the layers, right, when SketchUp was imported, now they were all drawn on layer 0. So if we went over to SketchUp here and we go to the window layers, I could have I could have selected this part, and I could have added the let me see if I can actually move to a layer. Let me see here. Flip along, soften, zoom, extents, dynamic components. No, I can just add to there. And that layer has a particular color. It's visible. And then I could have what am I trying to say? I could have drawn in that layer, and I could have named it, side A, side B, part A, part B. And when I imported in, it would have imported those parts on all their layers and all. So while I'm on a layer, I can't just, I wish I could take this and move. Let me see here. Bear with me just a second.
But could you have printed a text on it, say like box A, panel 1, and then box A, panel 2, and then when you import it into Aspire, that would have been printed on that part, and just don't give it a toolpath.
Yeah, I could have, and I believe it would import. I don't think it would import that. Let me see here. Let me hit edit, undo text. Tools.
It's not that you have that many parts here, but I'm just thinking if you were to go bigger, where you're making a bunch of these, be nice to have them labeled.
Right.
When I'm cutting out a big cabinet job, I just got a label printer and it prints out all the parts that's coming off a 4x8 sheet, so I know how to
Sure.
organize.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can do the nameplate production thing and set up an Excel file with a CSV file that says, because you're looking for like base 1, base 2, base 3, like typical cabinet people do.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can set that up that way.
Yeah, and let me look at the component properties, edit component. And if I go to window components here, let me see here. All right, right here. I knew it was somewhere. SketchUp is not that. So this part here, I can right click on it and entity info, and I can add that to a layer, and I can give it a name. So it could be my box top A, and the definition name is kind of called component 7, and I could just call it, I might call it the same thing, box top A. Now, when I do that, if I come over and save this, and I came over and let me really quickly take these parts and move them. And import vector.
Don't you have to export it again, Laney?
I saved it.
Okay.
So just saving it. I saved that change. So I should be able to come over here and import. Open that up. And here, there's 19 parts on one layer, one part on the other, the one that I moved. And replace outer boundaries, flat jobs, nothing about naming, but let's click OK. And I should have layer 1 is that part. I don't know if you can see that. But, and then layer O is the rest, right? So I could edit each one of those components, right click, edit entity info, and I can just move it to a layer, right? I can have a layer for each of the parts, or, box sides. All the box sides can be on layer 1. All the box fronts and backs can be on layer 2, that kind of thing. Long boxes and everything. And then when it imports, it'll import all those layers with it.
But Laney, I guess what I was asking in SketchUp, could you have just created text on the pieces themselves?
It won't create regular text. So if I go with regular text, let me get into the component first. So let's go into here. And I put text here. Okay.
The text doesn't become a part of the component.
No. Come on now. There we go. All right. Now, if I do 3D text, that was a little bit too big. Hold on a second. 3D text. Scale that down. Then if I save that, Control Z for that import, import it again. So it imports the text as like its own part.
Yeah, I got you.
Right. And then that one part, with the 2D text, nothing. It's not part of the model.
Gotcha.
So the only way to do that is to create the layers and label them and put those parts on their layers in the entity info. So
Thanks.
Yep. But that's, so that's that. So the box front and back, let's see, this is 9.5. That's 9.5. So 9.5. I can take one more sheet. That new sheet.
Doesn't matter.
Need to make it all about you, Lanny.
What's that?
So you need to make.
Oops, sorry, John, I muted you. Need to make it all about me?
Yeah.
Meaning?
Make yourself big. Your screen.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Make it all about me. Sorry about that. Yeah. So no, it did not work to bring the text in. Did y'all see that? At least it created a separate component. It did not make the text part of the design when you imported it in. It was the text was its own part. It didn't attach it to that piece. What I'm doing now is this is going to be my box. Parts. And I'm going to take these 3 parts right here. I'm going to move them to that sheet. And on that sheet, I'm going to select this part, hit the 9 key twice, and I'm going to select these 3 items. Again, I'm going to draw a rectangle around here. I'm going to select these 3 items, hold down the shift key, select that rectangle last, align to the center. Nope, that was dumb. Align to the center. There we go. And then space equal distance. Now these are just pushing that 35-inch board. So let's go ahead and let's change that sheet size, edit. And I'm just going to give myself another inch, 36. I'm going to come in here and select that rectangle again. Let me do that. Just going to pull them off for a second so I can extend this one out that extra inch. Okay, select these 3 items, select that, and once again, align to the center, and then space, and that'll give me my plenty of room. I should have plenty of room to get a bit in there. We'll find out. If not, then I'll change different parts. But so now it comes out, just kind of laying the parts out. So now here, let's do a tool path on this. We're going to ungroup these parts. This vector is all by itself. That's good. This is my perimeter vector. And then the inside vector, once again, is, kind of that distance there, and there is that 45-degree miter, that distance, right? Well, I don't need the top line and the bottom line on this shape. So I'm going to go into node editing, and I'm going to right click and delete that span, and then delete this span. So what I should be left with is one line over here and one line here. Okay. On these lines, let's get out of node editing mode. I'm going to hold down the shift key and, oops. Well, bear with me. And I'm just going to hold down that shift key, and I'm just going to extend them slightly past the edge of my board, because when that bit comes to do the cut, when that 90-degree bit comes to do the cut and everything, I want it to go past the board to give me a nice clean cut. Again, this is under the assumption that I'm miter cutting this on the CNC versus the table saw or chop saw or miter radial arm saw, that kind of thing. So now I've got my 3 tool paths, vectors for my tool path, my profile, my chamfer, which is going to be the miter cut, and then my pocket cut right here. So let's go over and let's look at the tool paths on this. So we'll do the window first, pocket tool path.
But did it arch that window and take those segmentations out of it automatically?
It did. When we imported and told it to change polygons to circles, it created those arcs.
Okay.
Got rid of that, got rid of those segments and everything automatically right upon import. Any of those segmentations and stuff. So yes. I'm going to type in Z equals up here, 3/4 inch. I'm going to select that. I'll be using a 1/4 inch end mill, and this is going to be my door cut underscore 0.25 end mill. Calculate, and that's just going to be, that cut. Now, I don't need to do a pocket cut. I'm a goofball. This is a profile cut. I'm cutting the door out. There's no sense in wasting time on a pocket cut. So let me stop that. That was an idiotic move on my part. That is not going to be a pocket cut. That is going to be a profile cut because we're cutting it out. So let's go back into the profile toolpath. Z equals 1/4 inch end mill out inside the line. And I'll throw a tab in there. Edit the tab. We'll go 2 tabs. Right there will be fine. And then door cut out, door cut out 0.25 end mill. So we'll go ahead and reset that, preview that toolpath, and cut that part out. And so the that will be the cutout. Now for the chamfer toolpath, and if you don't have versions 10, what was it, 10 that the chamfer toolpath came out, 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5, if you're still kind of rocking 8 and 9 and all that, I'll show you how to create that 45-degree miter cut as well with a 90-degree V-bit without the chamfer tool. But here we're going to start at 0. We're going to use a 1/4 inch end mill. Get down to my, why am I not seeing my end mill category? Because I'm not looking for an end mill, you goofball. I'm looking for a miter bit, a V bit. I was like, why am I not seeing my end mills? 90-degree V bit. And then on the line here, now this is very important, okay? The line, I don't know how well you can see that, but the arrowheads are pointing to the deepest part of the cut. This 45 from the inside of my board is coming down, out and down, right? So the arrows, the lines need to be pointing outward, which they are, but they need to go the full, 3/4 of an inch. And so 0.75. So 3/4 of an inch wide, 3/4 of an inch deep. Those arrows should extend right to the edge of my board here, my profile. Okay. So there, and if I hold the shift key down, wrong direction, right? So that's because my start point needs to be swapped around. Let me close this for a second. And in node editing, this start point right here needs to be down here for this line. So make this one the start point. Make that the start point. Now, when I go back into that chamfer toolpath and I select those lines, we're going to have our 1/4 inch end mill or a 90-degree V-bit, sorry. We're going to be 3/4 of an inch on the cut width, and it'll automatically set the depth because it's a 90-degree bit, keeps it even. And we, it's not going to be an outside cut cutting in, upward or downward or anything like that. It's going to be an inside cut. We're starting on the inside, working our way out. And we are sloping downward, inside sloping downward. And so when we calculate that toolpath, that's going to create that miter cut there. All right. And now, we're going to be doing that on each of these parts, right? So I could technically come in here and go into node editing mode, delete that top span, the bottom span, same thing for this one, delete the top span, the bottom span. On my lines here, let's get out of node editing mode. On my lines, I can extend them out. I'm going to extend them to the same length as they are. I'm holding that shift key so it's the same size. And what I did is I grabbed this to size it, and I just pulled my mouse over to the end of this line that was already sized. So it brings those lines to that same height. And the make sure you're zoomed in. And then now every other one, I need to reverse my, go into node editing mode, make the start point, skip that one, and then this one, make the start point. So let's go back into that chamfer toolpath, hold down the shift key, select that, that, and that. Let's try that again. There we go. Select this line, that line, and calculate. Okay. Preview that toolpath, and that's going to create each of those miter cuts. Okay. And then, you know, of course, on that pocket cut the door cutout, I could just as easily hold down the shift key and select this door, go into edit my tabs and throw in the tab here and here, and calculate. Right. So so those parts, you know, they're done. Now these, you know, front and back, or side and side, and then, you know, another side of a box, though. These are all still box sides. They're not the, you know, the front and the back and everything. Now here for the silhouettes, let's go back here and just look at this one real quick. This is a front or a back, you know, that octagon shape and everything. So this is going to be a silhouette, and this is going to be a profile cut, cutting on the inside. And I'm just going to use an 1/8 inch end mill to make sure I can get, you know, kind of tight in these corners and stuff. And depending on what, you know, animal I'll use an appropriate, you know, tool for the job and everything. And if I can't, then I'll size this up to where I can, kind of thing. But I should be able to use an 1/8 inch on all these. So this guy here would be a profile toolpath, cutting all the way through. I'm going to use an 1/8 inch end mill on the inside of the line, calculate, and then I'm going to do a profile toolpath on the outside of the line. I could, if I didn't want to do tool changes and stuff, I could go ahead and just use the 1/8 inch bit, because I have a 1 inch long reach bit. I could do an 1/8 inch bit on the outside profile as well, or I could switch to a 1/4 inch end mill. It just depends on, you know, the situation. I'll leave it at that. But these are going to be inside, and I am confident that in my machine and its setup and everything, that when it cuts this part, when I glue my octagon together, this part's going to fit. It's going to probably be a little bit tight. I'm not worried that this part's not going to be cut to the right size, and it's going to be undersized, you know, with a gap and this and that and all that. I'm confident that this part and all my parts, as long as my material's the right size, you know, and everything, it'll be the right size. Now here's where it's going to vary, or where it would vary. Let's say that on my glue up my octagon pieces, right? The actual octagon pieces. Let's say I were cutting them out of a glue up, or I were cutting them out of a piece of lumber that I ran through the drum sander. And let's say it was kind of rough lumber. I put some pretty wood that I want to run through. I'm going to make this box, and I don't hit 3/4 of an inch. Now this design was designed on 3/4 inch boards, right? 6 of them. If I'm off, if my boards are thinner than 3/4, that octagon is going to be a different size. So if I drew it for a 3/4 inch board, but I run it through the drum sander and I'm 0.70, 0.68, whatever, then I am going to have a gap when this gets cut out, right? So make sure if you're going to use the CNC to cut your parts out, and you make sure your parts are what you drew and sized it up for and everything. Otherwise, go back into SketchUp and make those alterations based on, get all your milling done, joining and facing off and cutting down to size and running through the drum center and blah, blah, blah. Get everything, all your square boards made if you're working from rough timber. And then once those boards are, made and they're cut down to size, then, make whatever alterations you need in your design and everything. But if you drew your design for a 3/4 inch board and you come out with a 0.7 inch board, and you go to cut it, you're like, well, why isn't that part fitting? There's going to be a gap. There's going to be an air gap, right? So I'm confident that I'm going to work with just a pre-sanded 4-side board, right straight from the box store. I will check it, of course, to make sure that I'm at 3/4. If I'm not, then I'll go in and make my alterations. But as of right now, I'm confident that that's what it's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut it. I'll throw some tabs in there. All right, and calculate. So we preview those two tool paths. Now, one of my faces on the octagon and everything, one of my faces, I'd like to do a pocket lip and then a full cutout, like an offset. I'll do that on the next one, so that I can lay a piece of acrylic in there, right? Like a window, inside. So on my second window, we'll do that one real quick. This one, I'm going to offset this vector inward, and I'll just create I'll go 1/2 inch, 0.5. I'm going to be screwing. I don't want the screws too close to the edge. Let me go 0.625. 0.625. Square corners offset inward. Now this vector, I would actually use that on another sheet that I would create, but for a piece of acrylic to cut out. Plexiglass, Lexan, acrylic. I'm not a big fan of carving, the plexiglass, Lexan and all extruded plastics. I like cast acrylic, and I've got some 1/4 inch, a little over 1/4 of an inch, but I've got some that would be perfect for this. So this vector here would not only serve the purpose of cutting my, pocket out and all, but it's going to be it'll serve the purpose of my vector for cutting out the piece of plexiglass, or acrylic. All right. So first of all, now I got to think about this for a second. I'm going to have like a little overhang on the outside. then the acrylic. So this is just the outer edge. That's what the size of the acrylic is going to be. Now I need to create my pocket vector offset inward. And this is where I was, this is what I actually wanted. I wanted to come inward 0.625 on that. And between here and here, these two vectors, that's going to be a pocket toolpath. This one is going to get offset one more time, but only about a 32nd. Okay. And so I'm going to have this vector, and this inside vector is going to be a pocket cut. I'm going to go 0.3. I think I'll have to go back and measure it. I think, I want to say it's just a little bit over 0.25. But I'm going to go 0.3. And 1/4 inch end mill, calculate. And this is going to create that pocket. Now, of course, on this piece, on this glued up panel, I'm going to have the good face facing down because this is going to now technically be the inside of my part here, right? So the face that I don't want showing is going to be up. Now, there's going to be a profile cut on this slightly inside vector. Profile cut, cutting all the way through on the inside of the line. Calculate. Now I'm taking that, I didn't put tabs in there just for preview purposes only, but that's going to create the pocket area where my acrylic's going to go. Okay. And then we'll have my profile cut on the outside of the line and preview that visible toolpath. Now, you're not going to really be able to see the inside, and I do not want to have to go through the trouble of rounding off my acrylic. There's two ways that I could go about this. On this cut right here, when that router bit is coming in doing that pocket, it's rounding this off. So I know I'm using an 1/8 inch bit. I should be using a 1/4 inch on all of these. I don't know why I'm still on an 1/8. I'll fix that. So a 1/4. So this is going to be an 1/8 inch radius right here. I might as well, if I'm going to use this vector for the cutting out the plexiglass, I might as well put the fillet in there to begin with. So, you know, I might as well come in on these sides here and put that fillet in there because you can't fit a square peg in a round hole. And if I cut my plexiglass square, you know, on the outside of that line, if I use that vector and then try to get it to fit into this curved pocket, I'm going to have to sand each one of those corners. So I might as well just do that now. So that vector is going to be used to cut out the plexiglass, but it's also going to be used for my pocket. So let's recalculate these tool paths with a 1/4 inch bit, not an 1/8. I don't need an 1/8 on this one. Calculate. Calculate. And that one's already there. All right. So, and then I didn't add tabs to this because I just want to be able to kind of knock that part out. So you can see that's going to be that front window. And with John's input about recessing it in, right? So now it's going to be recessed in and flushed, and we'll have a nice clean front, and that'll be pretty cool. So, you know, from the front side, that acrylic will have that 1/2 or that 5/8 of an inch lip, right? You know, coverage and everything, but it'll be, you know, 5/8 of an inch bigger all the way around and everything. So that will be the front panel. That'll be the window. like a window for it. So that would be that. So I'm going to go file save as, and I'm just going to call this cat boxes for my Vectric. And, I would just continue with that. So I've got my silhouette here and everything. When we go back, I should be able to, it should stay. So if I go back and look at that, preview.
So that front panel with the glass in it or plexiglass,
Right.
you're actually going to have an extra 3/4 of an inch all the way around it too, because you're going to have the original box.
The frame.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. So the, it's going to have what John is pointing out is, imagine, if you will, if I take this and I offset that outward 3/4 sharp corners, and then just for illustration purposes,
I figured you guys would need something to eat.
Oh, bless you. You're in town tomorrow.
Yes.
It's been a minute.
missed that one completely. Missed that one good, but that's all right. It's visual. So, on this panel here, this one is offset inward, but it's still going to have that box around. Now, if I take that vector, hold on a second, turn this one off, and I copy that over to hexagon front, what John is saying, if we make that active, is, this is going to be that window, right? So this will be the window. It's going to have, this is the inside of that frame, but it's going to have the box around it also. So the window is going to be kind of a small little portal type window. If we wanted the window to, I really wouldn't want the window to go all the way, but if I wanted the window to, I could bring this in a 1/2 inch and I could have a bigger window, right? Because this is my 3/4 inch outside box, the hexagon. And then this is the inside piece, right? So what John's saying is, with that box there, I'm going to have my inside piece and then, the overhang and then the plexiglass. And this will all be solid. You won't see this line from the outside, right? So it'll all be solid and everything, and just the window. But so it'll be just a kind of a smaller portal with a wider outside, if you will. Right, John?
Right.
That's what you're indicating. And if I wanted to, if I said, okay, on my original part, if I just wanted to offset that in a 1/2 inch and then make a pocket there to make my plexiglass bigger, I could do that, right? So that's that. Now these vectors here, that's the vectors. Hold on a second. Well, I love the music, guys, but I don't want to get copyright struck by the music in the background. So these are the vectors for that, that front. And it's just a matter of, laying these out. So this board here, so coming back to make, this active, these boards here, they're also 9.5 1x10, and this is 20 inches. So 20 and 20 is 40. I don't want to go 40 inch, a 40 inch long board and all, but all of these can be made out of, all of these boards here can be made out of 1x10s, my 1x10 stock, whatever size I decide to, lay it out. These two right here, those are 21 inches by 18. So 18 by 21. These are my inside, front, and back. these are also going to get silhouettes. I'm going to have, so let me just do one of these right now so you can see here. I'm going to take this guy, and he's going to be probably somewhere like that. I'm going to take this one. He's going to probably be somewhere like that. And I might, instead of paw prints, right, I might have like, a mouse silhouette or something. But imagine, if you will, there would be like this paw print, which is not really a paw print. It's kind of a rough drawn. But imagine like a little mouse, and these two guys are like focused on him, right? On what he's doing and everything. So that'll probably be one of my cutout windows, right? On one of the longer boxes. Something fun.
You can put me out there.
Yeah, right. You can carve in some text, whatever you want. And what I'm going for those of you that might be jumping in or joining in late, is the one that let me see, did I have the other window? Let me see. Let me back up. One more right here. So if you see these open in a new tab here, these boxes with these silhouettes and everything. Now the cutouts on the side, of course, that's so it can get, back and forth and all. The cutouts on the front are just so it can kind of, hang out, play out, get through, whatever the case may be. I'm going to have some, things like this. I am going to do kind of a slat wall. I'll probably end up doing a sliding dovetails, and I'll figure out how I will carve, attach them to the back of this. But I'm a big fan of French cleats. They're solid. I don't think the cat jumping around would knock them off or anything like that. I think they would, a French cleat wall, and there's tons of videos on making French cleat walls out there. I'm not going to even get into that right now. But I like the idea of the little ladder and platform, but I really like the idea of the go back one. I like the little rope ladder. You can barely see it in the corner there, but I really want to do that. So I might drill, get a bunch of, boards and all, and use my CNC to drill the holes, so I could use a drill press and all, but do the rope. Now this right here, this bed, it's just a front and back of that part, and then it's two flat panels, or three flat panels, two that come down, one that comes across, and then those front and back are glued on. It's very rough. There's nothing, too exciting or, crazy about that. But that is basically, I'm going to go with that one. He's a little guy, so I'm just going to go, I'll keep my, I'll go 18 inches, not 18 inches high, but 18 inches wide. And I'm going to go 6.5, 7.25. I'm going to go 7.25. 7.25. Okay. And then I'll take a circle. We'll go with a 2-inch end. I'll snap that there. Mirror that to the other side. That was silly. The other side of the object that I'm on, right? So let me draw a line. That was mirroring it to the other side of the whiteboard down below. Okay, one more time. Select that, and then I'll mirror that by flipping it about that line. I'm going to take a just a straight line for right now. And let me do this. Let me do it backwards. I'm going to come here and I'm going to hover over here. Now, if I hit this should work. If I hit the letter T, it should snap me right to the tangent there, which it did. And again, I can take this line. I'm not done with this line yet, but when it's all said and done, I can mirror it by flipping it about that line. But I want to add some shape to it first before I do that. But what I just did was with that line tool, I came down here and I snapped it down there, locked it in, but I'm hovering it over this circle, not clicking anything, hovering it over here. And if I hit the letter T, it'll snap straight to that natural tangent of that circle. So that way, when I'm trimming and everything, it'll be that perfect continuous line. Now here, I'm going to use an arc. And I'm going to click here. I'm going to come over here. And again, I don't know if it'll work with the arc tool, but I don't think it will. So I'm going to use my line tool before an arc. So let me see. Now I'm going to use the arc tool. Somewhere in here. This, it's snapped there. I'm going to go into node editing and turn that into an arc. I'm going to give it just a little bit of a pull. There we go. And then I'm going to take my scissors and trim that corner. No, not yet. Not yet. Don't want to trim that corner yet. Control Z. Let me take that. Actually, I want this. Bear with me. I want that aligned. I want that. I want to insert a point. Midpoint. And I kind of want to, instead of an arc, I want to kind of pull it down. And then let me mirror that to the other side. So select that, mirror, flip about the line. Now I'm going to go into my scissor tool, trim that. Get rid of that for right now. That and that. And then I'm going to go to my fillet tool and I'm going to put a little bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to put a 1 inch. There. And now in here, there would be, just so you understand what's going on, there would be a 3/4 inch board. It wouldn't be right at the bottom, this, but let me get it drawn. It could be a 1/2 inch. It doesn't have to be 3/4. But there would be a board that this front is screwed to. It's kind of down low. There would be a board going across it. This would probably be a little bit shorter. It doesn't need to be that long. And that's thick. It doesn't need to be that long up here. But it would be just a platform So here, one across and one up there. And the front and the back are just screwed to it. Let's see if I open that in another tab. So it's just the front and back that's here. And then this is screwed in. There's a bottom, and then there's another one on that side. It's very rough. You know, it's just something that'll hold a pillow, right? Type of thing, and everything. So doesn't have to be very fancy and all that. But so one of those will get thrown in there as well into the mix. You know, so 2 of those sides or something, and everything for him. Shh. All right. So I'll figure out what that bed's going to be, but that's pretty much it. So basically, I just wanted to take you through tonight in creating in SketchUp. He's got an upset stomach or something. We're trying to teach a class. By the way, for those of you that are new, we found this little tree critter here in a tree, in a knot or a hole, a rotted spot in a tree, tangled up in some vines across the street. And so we're making them feel at home, evidently, or her. I don't know. I'm not going to hold it up for y'all to tell, but it's one of the two. It's too young for me to tell right now. But the art of bringing, drawing things and visualizing things in SketchUp. If you really get decent at SketchUp, and it doesn't take long, I swear to you, it's very easy to learn. There's not a real big learning curve, and if you follow someone like Jay Bates who knows what they're doing, that go through each of the tools and tell you how to use it, it's really good. It's really easy to learn, and all your furniture, all your whatever it is you're making that you want to visualize, and everything. Hell, I've had to make wooden panels for the inside of car doors. And everything for a customer, and glove box door panels and things like that. And I'll enjoy drawing them in here. I enjoy bringing them in here, creating them so I can visualize them, talk with the customer, whatever the thing I want to do. And it's easier for me to try to visualize with him in this type of an environment, without going to like Fusion 360 or, AutoCAD or, something crazy like that. Right. Much easier to do it in here and then try to do it in Vectric and have them try to visualize what it would look like, as laid out as all the vectors and everything. They can visualize it here. So SketchUp, jayscustomcreations.com. Download the version 8 that he has. That's free version before it went to a paid version, and then play around with it. I just wanted to show you the concept of bringing these things in. I actually have to make these this weekend, so I'll finish up the design and all, and I'll take some pictures when I get them on a wall and everything. I'll take some pictures of what it looks like, but importing them in and then laying out your parts. It's not too complicated, but it sure does help. It's easier for me to try, instead of trying to visualize the design, the box and the octagon and the shapes and all of that stuff here, which I could draw it out just like this and look at it from like a side view, lay out the blueprints and everything and what I need to cut and all that stuff. But it's, SketchUp is a good tool. It's a good, useful tool. Very good to use in combination with Vectric. All right, let me bring the guys up because we're getting late in the evening. Matt, I'm gonna pick on you for a minute. Matt, you're new, right? You're like just a few days new, with us and everything. What do you think? I mean, was that too basic? Was it a good project? Was it, you can be harsh on me. That's what I like you guys and girls when you're on screen with me. You can pick on me and say, nah, I knew all that stuff. You didn't teach me anything new. But have you ever used SketchUp?
No, I haven't. I downloaded it. I downloaded it and started playing with it when we were
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. It's a good
Yeah.
a good program to play with. But
Yeah.
I really want to thank you. You are one of our. You're like you're one of. There's a couple of guys that were just came in right at the same time as you, but I want to thank you for joining and everything. And
Sure.
thanks for coming online. I like it when the guys come online and stuff. It's pretty cool because they help me out. You guys help me out, and don't hesitate to. When you see me make a mistake on screen, don't hesitate to call me out. I love John for that because he's like, hey, don't forget to save, or you got to do this or that and everything. And I need that because my mind is focused. It's tunnel vision. And you
Yeah.
guys are seeing everything else that I'm doing, and stuff. So I appreciate you hanging out with us on screen. JR,
Sure. No.
buddy, are you a cat guy, JR? You prefer not to have little rodents running around?
No, actually, I got 5 of them right now.
Right. Yeah.
I got 4 orange ones and 1 gray one that I swear is my mother-in-law reincarnated. She's about 9,000 years old.
Absolutely. Well, there was a lot of comments in the comments section, and I unfortunately I kind of didn't see them. So let me take a second with all you on screen for just a minute. I am so glad I'm small right now. Because this he just pooped all down my shoes. All right. Well, I'll stay small. I'll stay low profile. We don't need to be
Yeah,
seeing
you
that on
can choose
screen.
them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You got to go down there for a minute. All right. Anyway, nice. I just noticed that. Anyhow, let's go. Let's see here. Let's see. Roger said, Ron, I went to V12 today. New interface. I now have to learn, but worth the 400. So it is going to be a new interface. So I'm assuming if you guys were able to download V12 today, then it's safe for me to show it on screen and all that stuff later. So what we might do is in this coming up week's class, I'll do a project that's an Aspire project. Sorry about the cat in the background. I'll do a project that's Aspire, and we'll look at V12 and look at some of the new features. Because I don't want you to get intimidated. I thought, oh man, new interface, it's going to be crazy and all that. It's just a new look and a new layout. They've kind of cleaned it up and really given it a kind of a cutting edge look. And we're talking here. Adults are talking. Kind of a cutting edge look. And I'm liking it. I'm liking the way you can see the vectors and the new way that the 3D view can be, manipulated and controlled. So we'll take a look at that next week. For those of you thinking about V12, and for those of you that have V12, we'll kind of just go through and take a look at all the the nuances of it. I couldn't. They told me to keep it under my hat, right? I couldn't show it. I couldn't do it. I've had it for about a week now. Week and a half, a little more, about close to 2 weeks, but we couldn't show it publicly. So now that I know that people are downloading it, then Laney got the poop emoji from his own cat. That's funny. Kool-Aid, thank you very much, sir. Let's see here. Keith says, Laney, be careful. The cutouts do not have areas where the cat can get his paw cut and everything. That's very true. I'm going to make sure that everything is sanded, rounded off and, sanded edges smooth and all because, we wouldn't want him to get hurt and everything. He's just a little guy. He's lucky that I'm not mean. He's my favorite shirt too. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see here. Ron says, I have V11.5. I watched the new V12 today. What do y'all think about it? So y'all are having conversations. That's good. I didn't miss that. Thank you, Brooks Martin. Brooks said the same thing Charlie did. 360 divided by 6 equals 60 degrees. Thank you, Keith Kessler, for throwing that out there as well, too. John Thompson. John, I agree with you. Now, John asked the question that I didn't get to answer right away, and he's on screen with me. But he said, why not use 3/4-inch cabinet grade plywood to make 1/2 inch thick face frame material? And that way you don't have to do a glue up. Very true. I could. And the reason why I thought about doing hardwood and everything is it's going to be my office and my studio. And if it's in the background and all, I'm not good at staining. Right. And plywood staining, I get more blotchiness and everything. And so I could probably use a pre-stain conditioner. If it's cabinet grade, I might get a good look at it and everything. But I was thinking about, like, I have an abundance of that someone, I only paid a little bit of money for it, but they gave me a ton of sanded S3S. It was sanded 3 sides, but it was I have a ton of cherry, maple, and walnut. Lots of it. It's hanging on my walls and everything, and I need to do something with it. So I thought, if I'm going to do this in my office and everything, I might make it out of something like that. That's why I was kind of, thinking of a glued up panel. But yeah, absolutely. If it was anything, if I was going out and buying the material, then I wouldn't go buy that stuff. I already have it. I've had it for years. Now the prices of lumber is freaking insane. And going out and buying a sheet of even cabinet grade plywood is got a good price to it. But so I don't know. I could definitely do that. I've got this weekend to decide, but I do have a lot of cherry, walnut, and maple boards that are perfectly sized. They're good. I want to say they're probably I've got 1x8, 4/4, roughly 8. I mean, it's not cut down to dimension. It's still rough on one side, but 4/4. And I want to say the one panels are like 11 and 7/8 or something like that. So that would be my 1x10. So I'm going to have a little bit of waste, and nothing's wasted in my shop. I'll make spindle material out of it or something. But that's why, John, to answer your question, that's why I was using glued up panels. I have a bunch of wood that I don't have to go out and spend money on. And I don't know if he's money worthy yet, besides kitty litter and food. But that's why. But yes, you're absolutely right. So John's question is relevant. Hey, why not? Why not? Why not use cabinet grade material, plywood, or hell, why not just use decent? It doesn't have to be cabinet grade. It could be just decent plywood, not exterior stuff. All right, so that was a good question. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer. Keith says, I feel left out. I don't have a cat. You have plenty of dogs, Keith. You're good. You're good, man. And then, all right. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to take 2 seconds with you all. And I want to take just a moment. I've got a new banner, but of course, running late and everything. I didn't download it. Let me download it real quick while we're hanging out. And let's go to here. The way I can tell that it's new is if I just look at it at a quick glance, make sure it's the right one. I can see JR's name as big as daylight. So there we go. And so what I'd like to do is with everyone here, I'd like to come in and add in an overlay. And I'd like to bring that in and just say my thank you to you all. So this is a list of all the members. We're still young as far as the subscribers goes. We're 42 members strong. I'd love to see a lot more. If you have Facebook and you're not in the digital or the Spindle TV exclusive Facebook group, please send me a friend request so I can send you an invite. Also, don't forget, if you want to email me so I can email you information and stuff. Like, for instance, did y'all know that on the buildittv.com website, gold members get 50% discount on everything they buy? You get half off your entire order of everything you buy, from as far as models and project files and stuff, from buildittv.com. And silver members, you get 10% discount. So be sure to take advantage of that. Email me and I'll send you your coupon codes. But I want to thank you all. Without you all, none of this is possible. And you do a lot for Digital Woodcarver, Spindle TV. I don't know why I have Digital Woodcarver on the brain right now. And you do a lot for me, and I appreciate it. So I'm going to stay small because I'm not camera worthy right now. But hopefully you can see me down here in the corner. Y'all have a wonderful night. And gentlemen, thanks for joining me on stage. But I am now going to officially go clean up. All right. So y'all have a wonderful evening. Thanks for putting up with my cat show tonight. But I'll let you know what it looks like when it gets done. Do not delete, so you can go back if you need to. Absolutely correct, Roger. Don't delete it. And I did save everything. So y'all have a wonderful evening. We'll see you later. Bye now.
Thanks.